It's been a while now since I played a good, classic JRPG. With a large amount of shooters and action games released over the past few months, I haven't been able to get my fix. Unfortunately, when I first looked into Level 5 and Namco Bandai's latest JRPG, Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, originally released in Japan on the Nintendo DS, I thought it looked kinda stupid. I'll tell you straight up, after playing through this, I couldn't have been more wrong. Some neat plot twists near the end really take it from what I originally thought was some kind of kid's fairy tale type of story into something pretty special.
Right, let's get going, shall we?
Huh? Hey, wait for me! So this is your world.
That's right. A whole nother world. Beautiful, innit?
Ni no Kuni tells the story of a young boy named Oliver who's on a quest to save his mother and stop an evil wizard who's planning to destroy the world. Oliver's mother mysteriously passes away, and as he cries, his tears bring his favorite stuffed animal, Drippy, Lord High Lord of the Fairies, to life. Drippy reveals that he's from a parallel world where each person or animal in Oliver's world has a soul-linked counterpart in Drippy's world. Drippy also reveals that in his world, Oliver's mother has been trapped in a dark crystal by the evil wizard Shadar, but is in fact not dead. So Oliver and Drippy set out to stop the wizard and free his mother's counterpart in hopes that it will revive his mother in his world. Much of this story is about helping the people Oliver encounters along his journey. Shadar has inflicted a magic called broken-heartedness on the people of the world, which essentially takes away their virtues like kindness, love, and courage. Oliver is able to help these people by traveling back and forth between the two worlds and battling demons to restore their hearts. Unfortunately, I didn't care for the sequences where I had to return to Oliver's hometown of Motorville at all because it's just so bland and boring compared to how beautiful and magical Drippy's world is. The further I got into the game though, the more I enjoyed the story. It started off pretty slow as Oliver learned of his magical abilities, but it picked up rapidly afterwards and continued to get better and better as I went. The graphics and art direction of the game are absolutely beautiful. The advanced cel-shaded graphics make the game look like you're watching a cartoon mixed with a watercolored painting. Some of the cutscenes dropped in frame rate at times though, which was weird to me as the actual gameplay not once dropped frames. A wonderful soundtrack accompanies the game throughout its entirety, which really enhances the experiences. The presentation of the game is so great that I found myself just standing there at times taking it all in. I should point out though that there is a lot of reading via text dialogue. There's a bit of voice acting here and there, but for the most part you'll be reading everything. Ni no Kuni took me a little over 48 hours to complete the game with almost every pre-ending side quest on the normal difficulty setting. Additional content is unlocked once you complete the game as well, which should bring that playtime even higher. It wasn't until I completed the game that I discovered an option to turn off the hand-holding the game does through nearly everything. I wasn't left guessing on what I needed to do very often, which was annoying. If you're a classic JRPG fan like me, you're probably going to want to disable this option. Being that Oliver is to become a powerful wizard, the game is all about two things, spells and familiars. There are simply a ton of spells that Oliver will learn along the way, ranging from powerful combat spells to utility spells like the ability to create bridges or levitate over traps. He'll even learn spells that will help him solve various simple and semi-complex puzzles along the way. Oliver can also use alchemy to craft his own weapons, armor, and consumables. In addition to casting spells in combat, Oliver and his companions that he gains along the way can use familiars to fight for them. There's something like 400 different enemies in the game that may be tamed to join your party. Each party member may control up to 3 familiars at a time, and each familiar has their own abilities and statistics that they will enhance and level up as they're used. Treats may be fed to the familiars to buff their stats as well, so managing your familiars is essentially a metagame of its own and really gives you a ton of options to customize which spells they'll learn and which roles they'll be used for. As the familiars level up, they may also be metamorphosed into more powerful familiars that return them to level 1 but grant them access to better stats and spells. In addition to equipping weapons, armor, and items on Oliver and his party, you'll also need to acquire and manage what gear your familiars are wearing as well. Some of the gear looks really awesome in your inventory, but it sucks that equipping these weapons and armor doesn't change how the familiars or party members look. I realize that this would be a massive amount of additional work for the developers to implement, but I think it would really have enhanced the game. The game world felt pretty large as I played it, and is filled with several large towns and many cleverly designed dungeons. Over time, Oliver gains access to a spell that allows him to teleport to locations he's discovered, as well as a boat and a dragon to travel to areas not accessible by foot. While traveling in both the overworld and in dungeons, enemies are displayed on the screen, and not until you run into them or they chase after you will combat begin. These enemies also respawn very quickly. The combat system reminded me a lot of White Knight Chronicles, in that it takes place in real time and you run around the battlefield and queue up a move and wait for it to complete. This is most noticeable when you order a basic attack or defend command and your unit repeatedly executes it until a timer runs out or you cancel it. In combat, each party member may cast spells, use items, or attack on their own, or they may swap places with one of their 3 familiars. Each familiar has a stamina gauge that drains while they're on the battlefield, and when it depletes, they're swapped back with their master. Each familiar also shares the health and mana pools of their master, so much of the strategy revolves around which familiar to use, what abilities they execute, and for how long they're in combat. Because the combat's in real time, you can only control one party member at a time. You can issue vague instructions like attack my target or keep us alive to the remainder of the team, but overall I didn't find the AI to be that great for most of the game. When your party has full mana, they're very powerful, but they burn through their mana pool so fast that after a couple battles in a dungeon, they're completely out and almost useless. You can issue orders to not cast any spells, but that's not very practical either. I wish there was an option to use spells conservatively. The game is rated for gamers 10 years and older, but I don't see how a 10-year-old could enjoy this. I actually found the game to be pretty challenging lots of the time. I actually found that I needed to grind a bit here and there to be able to take down some of the bosses. There are a very large number of side quests and bounty hunts that you should do along the way to help ease this though, plus they reward you with the best gear in the game. Oliver carries with him a book called The Wizard's Companion that contains information on all of the monsters, gear, spells, and various stories. You'll have to access and look up information in this book a lot throughout the game, which is kind of a pain in the ass. There's a collector's edition of the game that comes with a hard copy of this book, but some form of a hard copy should be given to anyone who purchased the game. Over the past few weeks, I've read a lot of comments from gamers who are excited for this title and are hoping that it gets the recognition it deserves. I know that my videos don't get a lot of views, but I hope I can do something here to get the word out. Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch is a wonderful game for those who enjoy classic JRPGs. Over time, the JRPG has taken a turn for the worse it seems, as Western RPGs dominate the market. It's refreshing to play a game done right for the fans of the way things used to be. If you like Japanese role-playing games, Ni no Kuni is a must-purchase. Check out the full write-up and screenshots over at ZeitgeistGameReview.com. Stay up to date by following me on Twitter and Facebook, and make sure to check out all of the other great gaming entertainment on the Game Station. Don't forget to subscribe and press the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching.